Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. Take for their disease. Free just like a weed.
It is cold as balls out. It is unbelievable. Colder than a fucking Yeti's nutsack outside. And we're heading into the most bipolar month of the year next week, which is the month of March. But I'm here. I am here. Everyone is filing into the chat. And that could only mean that it's Saturday! You know what that means. We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to the greatest fucking show on earth, streaming live on 4 different platforms across 5 different accounts. We are rocking. We are rolling. Shit is about to be turned up all the way until the crank breaks off, because we have a lot of shit to go over, plus the moment you've all been waiting for ever since I announced it. And trust me, we will get to it. But first things first, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, shit. Do you smell that? Do you know what that is? I will tell you what it is. That right there is the smell of pure motherfucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind. And this is the official lightning flash update. Don't know why I said it like that. For Saturday, February 25th, 2023. And we are getting shit rolling into the month of March on the absolute best foot possible. I see we got a solid crowd so far. Grega John, we got the final hoss, we got Hula Grim, and the final hoss reminding everyone that WrestleMania moments and LA Night moments, they got nothing on LFU moments, yeah. And I know a lot of people are taking that whiff of that pure excellence, and they're going to get their weekly dose of DJ Storms. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Hope you guys are having a nice, relaxing weekend. We got plenty of material to go over. It is going to be a very fun show. Of course, we got plenty of news, including an update on WrestleMania 39's main event scenario. Apparently, Trish Stratus was supposed to be on the Ding Dong Hello segment from this past Monday night on Raw, and we are going to rip Ariel Helwani a new asshole. Why? Because the guy fucking deserves it. He's an unprofessional fucking stooge, and we're going to rip him apart the only way that we know how, and that is DJ Storms style. The best kind of style that there is in the IWC. If you ain't talking DJ Storms, then don't bother talking. Anyway. Thank you guys as per usual. You guys are fantastic. And the month of January and February have both been great months. Hopefully we can continue that momentum going into March, because we got a lot of shit going on as far as March is concerned. We got 2 ISPW events. We got one on March 11th and one on March 24th. It's going to be great. We got some new collaborations coming your way. We got Revolution. We got NXT Stand and Deliver Rundown. We got Ring of Honor, Super Card of Honor. It's going to be a busy month of March. A lot of good shit going down. You may see a new Eye of the Storm as well. The Eye of the Storm, you guys have been enjoying that. So I'm going to continue to bring back the Eye of the Storm, because the Eye of the Storm is where it is at. It is where it is at, where the top tier athletes in the professional wrestling business in the state and in the country, they come on in and they talk wrestling. They talk the business, their goals, their aspirations, their inspirations, with none other than DJ Storms. But before we get into what we're going to get into here, the show, the channel, and the Lightning Flash update is indeed sponsored by my good friend Brittany K, and she is fantastic at what she does. She does top-tier designs from scratch on her iPad, top-tier drawings. As you saw, there was Brody Lee right there. Right there is Jay Briscoe, Reach for the Sky, rest in peace. We got John Moxley as well. And then coming up here in just a little bit, we got Malachi Black. Malachi Black is hopefully going to be 1/3 of the Trios champions. So cross our fingers right there. But if you guys want top-tier designs, please make sure you go and check out Brittany K. One more time, we got Brody Lee, the late, great Brody Lee, rest in peace. We got the late, great Jay Briscoe as well. The design right there is absolutely impeccable. Please go and check her out. Her Twitter and her Instagram are both in the description. So go and follow her on Twitter and follow her on Instagram. Twitter is at Brittany K5150, and on Instagram it is at Brittany K Designs. Go and check her out, because she is not only a great friend, she is not only a big supporter of the DJ Storms brand, but she is also a fantastic designer, a fantastic drawer, and she deserves a hell of a lot more praise than she's getting. She's very underrated. She is super talented. So please go and check her out. Of course, please make sure that you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HistoryMakerDJS. That is at HistoryMakerDJS, both on Twitter and Instagram. Please make sure that you add me on Facebook as well for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook, that is. All those links are in the description. There will be no AEW Dynamite review today, because I actually talked about AEW Dynamite this past Thursday with my main man, Earl Cole Bay. Shout out to him. We also talked about the Elimination Chamber. And speaking of the Elimination Chamber, shout out to Hula Grim, who appeared on the Rewind for the Elimination Chamber this past Sunday, February 19th. It was great to collaborate with him again. Hopefully I'll be having him on the channel once again very soon. And he was great as per usual. He has a very good mind, a lot of knowledge about professional wrestling, and hopefully we can make that a reoccurring thing when it comes to these big-time pay-per-views, and hopefully we'll never have to review a bad pay-per-view. But please go and check that out, as well as my appearance on the Wrestling Experience. The link is in the description. Please go check that out. Thank you again to Earl Cole for inviting me back on the show. It was an absolute pleasure to collaborate with him once again. Please make sure that you are following all of Hardcore Sports social medias. On Twitch, we got right down there at the bottom, Hardcore Sports 1. We got Instagram, Hardcore Sports Network. We got Twitter, Hardcore Sports N. And we got YouTube, Hardcore Sports Network, which we are streaming live on right now. Hardcore Sports is looking to be the #1 analytical brand in all of sports content. We dissect football, baseball, basketball, and all sorts of shit, whether it be hockey or UFC or wrestling, everything. We dissect every type of sports material, and we are going to be the #1 brand in all of sports analytics. We are at 264 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed to Hardcore Sports, please go over to the Hardcore Sports channel, subscribe to that right now. It is very, very, very vital that you do so. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, to like the stream, no matter where you're watching it on, and share the stream out on all platforms, social media, whether it be Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Tumblr, and Snapchat, and TikTok, and Twitch, whatever social media platforms that you may be using, whatever social media platforms that you might be on, share them out so that way we can get a wide reach across all these platforms and we can get the biggest audience possible, because everybody needs a little DJ Storms in their life. And Gregor John educating everyone. I'm the #1 fucking journalist. I'm the #1 analyst. Ain't no one measures up to DJ Storms. DJ Storms is here. Everyone else follows suit. DJ Storms is absolutely untouchable. Make sure everybody knows. Of course, be sure that if you're watching on YouTube, whether it be my YouTube or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. And of course, you hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. And do you know why? Because it's the only time that you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Earl Cole is not in the chat yet, but we're going to light it up. And you already know what's coming next. Hey, Hula Grim, I want you to educate everyone on what comes next, because we got this magical, this perfectly crafted black ace comb, and we're going to light it up. I want everyone to say it with me. We're going to light it up with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like chicken nachos, hot and fresh out of the oven. I actually had those for lunch today. Hot and fresh chicken nachos with the multi-Mexican blend shredded cheese, toasted to perfection, nice and crispy with some salsa on the side. I am just so good. I'm the tastiest snack in all of the IWC, and everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. You know it, and I know it, and everybody knows it. Anyway. I don't need to say anything. Everything you need to know is right there. Hula Grim knows. Everything you need to fucking know is right there. Right fucking there. Don't forget it. Everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. Anyway, why don't we get into the news, rumors, and reports? Let's start off with a minor report. Not really sure how many of you really heard about this report, but according to a report from Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net, WWE has signed former NWA talent Colby Corino. Now, I am not familiar with Colby Corino. I believe we reported on this a couple of weeks back that WWE did have interest in signing Colby Corino. I don't know much about him. I don't watch NWA, mostly because it's too much wrestling, but based on what people have been telling me, NWA is pretty much WWE with Vince McMahon in charge. Instead, Billy Corgan is like a fifth-rate Vince McMahon. Either way, NWA, not a good promotion to watch, but Colby Corino, I am not really familiar with his work. I don't know what he's all about. If someone is familiar with his work, please let me know. Send his work to me on Instagram. Send his work to me over Twitter. I'll try and watch some of his matches when I can. But apparently they signed Colby Corino. Now, I don't know much about Colby Corino, like I just said, but I am not going to complain, and I'm not really going to bitch or moan because I can't really make a judgment. The only thing that I can really say about it is this. With the signing of Colby Corino, and of course you got Dragon Lee, and obviously they're eyeing Jay White as well, and Tama Tonga, the one thing that I keep on thinking about is rehabilitation for NXT. Now, I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get the wheels in motion because NXT, still to this day, is the worst show in all of professional wrestling. I'm still trying to figure out how Monday Night Raw won the worst show on the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Awards. NXT came in second, if you could believe it. Probably because no one watches NXT. But regardless, at the end of the day, with the signing of Colby Corino and any other independent free agents that they want to bring in, this, to me, is going to be the start of a reset. This is the embryonic stages of a reset for NXT. Just like how they brought in all those independent talents like Cole and O'Reilly and Fish when NXT was black and gold. I truly believe this is a rehabilitation start for NXT. And if that's the case, you will not hear a single complaint out of me. You're not going to hear a single complaint out of me because I have been calling for a reset for NXT for a long, long time. I have been calling a reset for NXT since 2.0 was introduced. I never wanted 2.0 to be introduced. So if Colby Corino is going to be a part of the plan for a rehabilitation for NXT, I'm not going to complain. Now, when will we start to feel that change? I have no idea. It could be years before we start feeling that change. Triple H needs to cleanse all that bullshit from Vince McMahon away from NXT. And to be quite honest with you, with Shawn Michaels still operating in the mindset of Vince McMahon and fucking Bruce Pritchard, then at the end of the day, Triple H is going to have to do more than just sign independent talent. He's got to re-educate Shawn Michaels. Don't know what the fuck he's doing down there. Moving on here, a report that kind of swept the IWC and sent a lot of people into a state of panic, a state of joy, depending on who you might be, a state of concern. According to a report from Fightful Select, several individuals within WWE believe that they have a chance of signing Kenny Omega when his contract for AEW is up. Omega, despite being employed by AEW, has actually had a very positive relationship with the company, especially with Triple H, when discussing the potential of Omega joining the WWE in 2018. If you guys remember, in 2018, Kenny Omega's New Japan Pro Wrestling contract was coming up, and at the end of the day, if AEW never came around, I truthfully believe that Triple H may have landed Kenny Omega. I'm not even bullshitting you. I honestly do believe that Kenny Omega would have been swooped up by Triple H. He would have made his debut on NXT. And Kenny Omega, for all intents and purposes, for all we know, Kenny Omega could have been the one to be fighting Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship. And Kenny Omega could have been the one to have won the NXT Championship within the next year. He could have been the one to beat Tommaso Ciampa. Kenny Omega could have been on the main roster. Who the fuck knows? Same thing with the Young Bucks. Now, it was recently reported by the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Tony Khan has actually extended Kenny Omega's contract towards the end of the year, and the Young Bucks contract will also expire at the end of the year. Omega's contract was extended because of the fact that he was injured, and he was out recuperating from multiple nagging injuries that actually became a little bit more serious over the course of 8 months. He was recuperating from November of 2021 to August of 2022. And his contract was actually extended. So his contract is not coming up anytime soon. We're going to have to wait to the end of the year for that. But here's what I have to say. Do I believe that Omega is going to leave AEW? No. Personally, I don't believe it. I truthfully don't believe it. But Tony Khan has to be very, very careful. He has to be very, very, very careful with what he's doing. Tony Khan, so far, has been very, very cautious with what he's doing in 2023. And Dynamite has been great. AEW has been on a hot streak in 2023. The Elite, they're the trios champions. They're putting on great matches. At the end of the day, the concerning thing is how much more can the Elite really do in AEW? Are the Elite content with staying in AEW after they lose the trios championships and they start putting other people over? Because at the end of the day, that's what the Elite should be doing. The Elite, at some point in time, are going to have to slip into the Chris Jericho role. The question is, are they willing to put their egos in check for the greater good of business? Because if the Elite go to WWE, that is not only a huge blow for AEW, but at the end of the day, that right there could very well be the straw that breaks the camel's back and swings the tide in WWE's favor completely. Me personally, I'm over these petty fucking territory wars. I'm done with this shit. I'm done with the WWE versus AEW shit. I'm done with the tribalism. All I want is for both companies to succeed. I truthfully want them to work together. I want them to work together. I don't want any monopolization of the industry. But at the end of the day, both sides, both Triple H and Tony Khan, WWE and AEW, both of them, their egos are too inflated. Their egos are too inflated. It doesn't really matter who started what or who said what or who did what or who signed who to a contract. At the end of the day, both sides have inflated egos. And that is one thing that I absolutely fucking despise about 2023. No one, and I mean fucking no one, has learned to put their ego aside for the greater good. No one. So at the end of the day, are the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega willing to put their egos aside for the greater good of AEW, to stay with AEW, put other talent over, and work with whoever they want to work with in order to build the next generation of superstars? Or are they going to go to WWE and automatically be number one in whatever division that they're in? Or automatically be number one in the tag team division? Or number one, if they go to NXT to try and recuperate NXT, they're number one in NXT. Or they're number one on Monday Night Raw. Whoever it may be. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, Triple H and the agenda for Triple H, his motto is to take over. Not just WWE, but the entire wrestling industry. And you have to imagine that Nick Khan probably has a hand in this too. Triple H is operating on blind rage. He should be taking out his rage on his father-in-law, but at the end of the day, he can't do that. He can't do that. So he's taking out his rage on Tony Khan. Meanwhile, Tony Khan was the innocent bystander here, and Vince McMahon forced NXT onto the USA Network, killed Triple H's creation, and instead of Triple H taking out his anger on Vince, which he can't do legitimately, because if he does, Vince will probably fucking fire him, he has to take out his anger on Tony Khan. I don't think that's fair, but at the end of the day, WWE and this mentality of monopolization it's festered. It's festered and expanded to more than just Vince McMahon and his camp. It's festered into Triple H too. And I don't like that. Because at the end of the day, all this is saying to me is WWE is making it their mission to go out of their way and sign all of these big names from AEW and rob AEW of everything that they can. Triple H is operating on this blind rage power trip because he can't take out his anger on Vince McMahon. He's taking it out on Tony Khan, and he's trying to drain the life force of AEW. They already got Cody. Cody had a ceiling in AEW, and AEW without Cody has been fine for the most part. But if they get the Elite, that is a huge blow. Yes, it could open up opportunities for new talent, but at the end of the fucking day, there's going to be a lot of fans that watch AEW for the Elite that could very well start migrating over to WWE TV. I don't like what he's doing, but if they play their cards right, they could very well have a chance of stealing the Elite away from Tony Khan and AEW. We're going to have to keep a close eye on this. I am certainly going to keep my eye on it, but as of right now, Tony Khan has extended Omega's deal to the end of the year, and the Young Bucks, their deal is also up at the end of the year, so we are going to keep our eyes on that very closely, and we are going to have to wait. One thing that's going to be interesting is this Trios Championship match that's coming up at Revolution. We got the House of Black and the Elite. Shouldn't have been booked this early. Shouldn't have been booked this early at all. The House of Black should absolutely win. Now, there is a chance that the Elite could win, which is not the right decision. But here's an interesting topic of discussion. If the House of Black win, is that the first step towards the Elite leaving AEW? I don't know. That's definitely a topic of discussion. You can discuss it amongst yourself. I just figured it would be interesting to bring to the table. Dave Meltzer. Sticking with Dave Meltzer here. Dave Meltzer reported that nobody in WWE has confirmed Jay White is coming into the company. However, it is currently favorited amongst the locker room that they could very well see him in WWE in due time. Now, is it possible? Yes. Is it confirmed? No. I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I said the same thing last week. I don't know where Jay White is going to end up. It is a very, very unpredictable scenario. There's really no clear-cut indication as to where Jay White could end up. With Cody, it was a little more favorited towards WWE based on what they've been doing. But at the end of the day, Jay White, it's a much more unpredictable scenario because they can honestly swing either way. They could sign Jay White. WWE could sign Jay White, or they could pass on Jay White, and Jay White could end up going to AEW, or he could go to Ring of Honor. There are multiple roles that Jay White could play. Jay White is very, very versatile. You could put him in Ring of Honor. You can have him as a star on that brand. You can make him the Ring of Honor World Champion. We could see Jay White versus Claudio Castagnoli for the Ring of Honor World Championship. We could see that. Maybe we see Jay White go to AEW. Maybe he's aligned with Adam Cole or something like that. Maybe he joins the Elite. Maybe we get a Jay White Kenny Omega feud, something along those lines. I don't know. Maybe he brings along some Bullet Club members. Maybe we see a Tama Tonga or a fucking Hideo Itami come on in. We could see that, or Kenta rather. Kenta could come in. Maybe he does go to WWE. He goes to WWE. They could put him in NXT, and he will be number one in that division. Think of all the great matches that Jay White could have in NXT. Jay White and Braun Breaker, Jay White and Carmelo Hayes, Jay White and Tony D'Angelo, Von Wagner, Grayson Waller, Axiom, Tyler Bate, JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov. A lot of great matches. I don't know. I do not have a straightforward answer for you as far as Jay White goes. That's something, once again, we're just going to have to wait and see. I don't know. I got a report on Trish Stratus. Per Fightful, Trish Stratus was supposed to be on Ding Dong Hello, where Bayley was interviewing Damage Control before Lita and Becky Lynch came out and challenged them to a tag team title match next week on Raw. However, she was not on the show simply because of a creative change. Now, I'm not really sure why they decided to make the creative change, but my guess is they're going to have Damage Control beat Becky Lynch and Lita, and they should beat Becky Lynch and Lita. Lita and Becky Lynch should not be winning the women's tag team titles. Damage Control are going to beat Becky Lynch and Lita, and that is going to be the catalyst for Becky Lynch introducing Trish Stratus, and then we're going to get a 6-woman tag team match at WrestleMania, and that is going to be where Becky gets her ultimate revenge on Damage Control. That's what it's looking like to me. That's what it's looking like to me, at least. I don't really see any other way that this would play out. And if I'm going to be quite honest with you, I'm almost glad that she wasn't on Ding Dong Hello. I'm actually glad that she wasn't, because it wouldn't really make much sense for her to be on Ding Dong Hello, and then ultimately she's a bystander for the women's tag team title match next week, rather than Becky just bringing out Lita, and then they lose, and then Becky finally evens the odds with Trish Stratus. That just makes more sense to me, rather than introducing Trish Stratus right out of the blue. But I'm guessing that we will probably see Trish Stratus at some point in the coming weeks leading up to WrestleMania, and we will get a 6-woman tag. I'm going to stick with NXT here for a little bit. This is actually a really fucking sad report, and I had to bring it out because if this is the state of NXT, then this just goes to show you how badly the show has been. Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, he reported on the negative reaction to Braun Breaker. Since Jinder Mahal came out, and he said that the fans are starting to turn on Braun Breaker, which we all know that's not the case. Dave Meltzer reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that the negative reaction to Braun Breaker and the signs at these recent NXT events, that they're plants. Yes, you heard me correctly. They are plants. Why? If the people are supporting Braun Breaker, why are you trying to manipulate the vibe of the show? Why are you trying to manipulate your audience into thinking that Braun Breaker is not liked, when in reality, there has been no negative reaction to Braun Breaker? There's been positive reactions to Braun Breaker. Why are you putting plants in the crowd? Are you turning Braun Breaker heel? Braun Breaker shouldn't go heel. Braun Breaker, if anything, Braun Breaker should be losing the NXT Championship to Carmelo Hayes, and Braun Breaker should be going up to the main roster. I almost don't even have words for this. I don't. The current state of NXT is fucking sad. If Shawn Michaels needs to resort to manipulating the audience into thinking that Braun Breaker is not liked by putting plants in the crowd to give him a negative reaction when the reaction in general for Braun Breaker has been positive, what does that tell you about the show? Does that tell you that Shawn Michaels is running NXT correctly? Certainly doesn't tell that to me. It tells me that no one gives a fuck about NXT. It tells me that Shawn Michaels is trying to do what Vince McMahon did, and he's trying to manipulate the audience to do what he wants. He's trying to give everyone his vision rather than just letting shit happen organically and going along with the crowd. Why do we need plants? Why does Braun Breaker need a negative reaction? He's not John Cena. Let him be Braun Breaker. This is sad. I don't know what the fuck they're doing down there, but Triple H, you need to get your fucking ass down there, and you really need to knock some fucking sense into your friend. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but that is just awful. That is awful. Moving on here, we got a report on the WrestleMania 39 main event scenario. This comes from WrestlingNews.co. They provided an update on the scenario. They stated how it was reported that the plan is indeed to do Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Usos for the tag team titles. WWE did not want to add Sami Zayn to the Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns match at all, though he has boosted TV ratings and attendance and interest. Vince McMahon and Triple H reportedly do not see Sami Zayn as a main event talent. Now, I believed every single piece of that report except for one. Triple H doesn't see Sami Zayn as a main event talent. Triple H does not see Sami Zayn as a main event talent. Are we talking about the same individual here? How many of you, just answer me this, how many of you genuinely believe that Triple H doesn't see Sami Zayn as a main event talent? Look at what happened in the past. Triple H booked Sami Zayn in NXT as if he was the most important figure on the show. His journey to becoming the NXT championship was one of the greatest journeys in NXT history. Triple H had every intention on making Sami Zayn a main event talent. He brought up Sami Zayn to fight John Cena in a US Open challenge, but yet he doesn't see him as a main event talent? Bullshit. Bullshit. You know who doesn't see Sami as a main event talent? Vince McMahon. You know who will not put Sami Zayn in the main event ever? Vince McMahon. Triple H, he's got all the praise in the world for Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is one of his children. He brought Sami Zayn to the fucking promised land in NXT. Look at that match with Shinsuke Nakamura, but he doesn't see him as a main event talent? Bullshit. Whoever put out that report, bullshit. It's Vince that doesn't see Sami as the main event talent, not Triple H. Now, as far as the main event of WrestleMania is concerned, Sami Zayn was never going to beat Roman Reigns. Sami Zayn was never going to beat Roman Reigns. It wasn't going to happen. It was never going to happen. Sami Zayn was always going to lose. It just all depended on how they booked it. Now, they've been telling a great story so far. And when Jay inevitably turns and Jay makes his intentions clear that he's with the bloodline, that is when Kevin Owens will step in and Sami Zayn will indeed be teaming with Kevin Owens to fight the Usos. And here's what I heard. And this made me fucking laugh. This made me fucking laugh. Reports are going around that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are going to main event WrestleMania night one with the Usos. You know why I laughed at this? Not because of the fact that they don't deserve it. I would absolutely put that in the main event. I would either put that in the main event, or I would put McIntyre, Sheamus, and Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship in the main event. That would be one hell of a main event. But it's going to be the tag team titles. And if it's the tag team titles, you know why this is funny to me? This is funny to me because Charlotte Flair politicked her way into having Rhea Ripley choose her instead of Bianca Belair because she thought that she would get an easy in to the main event of WrestleMania 39, number 1, and she would make up for her being snubbed last year by Stone Cold Steve Austin. But instead of being snubbed by Stone Cold Steve Austin, she's being snubbed by Sami Zayn. Look, if Sami's not going to main event night 2 with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, then you know what? Sami Zayn snubbing Charlotte Flair out of the main event of WrestleMania night number 1, that right there is poetic fucking justice. That is poetic justice. And if that happens, I'm going to fucking laugh. I'm going to fucking laugh. I will laugh like the fucking Joker, like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I'm gonna laugh like Heath Ledger was laughing when he was falling from the top of a building before Christian Bale's Batman caught him by the foot and he was hanging upside down 300 feet in the air. That's how I'm gonna laugh. I hope it happens. I actually fucking hope it happens. Here's something that I hope doesn't happen, but apparently it's true. The fucking guy from Wrestle Talk that I still don't know how to pronounce this fucking guy's name, Louis Dangor. Can somebody please tell me, how the fuck do you pronounce this fucking retard's name? How do you pronounce this nerd's name? Danger? How do you pronounce it? I'm just going to call him fucking Dangor because he looks like a geek. I'm going to pronounce his name like a fucking nerd. Louis Dangor of Wrestle Talk, he reported that despite the fact that many fans think that it's a swerve, the reports have claimed that Omos is legitimately Triple H's plan for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 39. And I use that term Triple H's plan very, very loosely. Why? Because it is not Triple H's plan. It's not. Do you actually believe that Omos is Triple H's planned opponent for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? Do you honestly fucking believe that? No! Omos is merely still employed because Vince McMahon has not completely left the company. Omos is merely still employed because Vince McMahon, he just won't fucking go away. The guy won't fucking die. The guy's gonna live until he's 150 still running his company. This has Vince McMahon written all over it. Now, granted, Brock Lesnar, ever since he came back, this has been the worst Brock Lesnar run that we've ever seen. Ever since he came back at SummerSlam 2021, this has been the worst Brock Lesnar run in WWE thus far. The only match that has been worth going back to rewatch was his match against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam 2022. That was a great main event. Really, great main event. But Vince McMahon, holy shit, Vince McMahon, he has his grubby little hands all over this shit. And I don't even give a shit what anyone's going to say when I say this next thing, because I've never given a shit. Omos is Brock Lesnar's planned opponent. I don't give a shit how much heat I get for this. Omos is the worst signing in WWE history. What value does he have? Can't wrestle, can't cut a promo. He's already lost whatever little mystique he had. He's been beaten by Bobby Lashley 3 times, beaten by Braun Strowman. Why is he there? Why is he there? All the guy is the Nigerian version of the Great Khali. He actually may be even worse than the Great Khali. I understand if Triple H doesn't want to just pull the plug and Triple H doesn't want to fucking release anyone and he wants to give everyone a chance, but sometimes you got to know when to cut your losses. Why is Omos still there? He has no value whatsoever. And if you're a fan of Omos, you are either a troll, you're an attention seeker, you're a retard, or you're all of the above. Just let him go. I don't understand why I'm still talking about Omos in WWE. And how long has it been since Triple H has taken over? I hope to God that when Omos's contract is up, Triple H does not renew it. I don't know how long he is signed for, but oh my God. If I have to deal with another 3 to 5 years of if I have to hear that shit one more time, if I gotta suffer through that shit, I swear to God, I may drive my head through a fucking wall. I swear to God, I think I may have to fucking put myself through the fucking barbershop window like Shawn Michaels did Marty Jannetty, except there's going to be no heel turn. I'll throw myself through the fucking window. Fire him! Fire the fucking blob! Unbelievable. This was not Triple H's plan. Vince is in charge, and you are not going to tell me otherwise. Speaking of devil, my next report. Reports have been going around that WWE talent believes Vince McMahon is back in charge of creative. However, Ringside News has reported that he's not returned to creative. Bullshit! Bullshit! I have been calling this since last month. I have been calling this shit since last month. You don't need Ringside News. You don't need fucking Fightful. You don't need Dave Meltzer. You don't need fucking Mike Johnson, a PW insider. You don't need Louis Dongor Donjor. You don't need him. You don't need fucking Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net. You don't need any of these fucking people. All you need to do is watch the fucking show. Are you going to tell me that Vince is not in charge after what we saw at the Royal Rumble? And how poorly produced that show was? That had Vince McMahon material written all over it. What about the Elimination Chamber? Now, the Elimination Chamber was a great show, but I mean, holy shit. Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, that was a Vince McMahon production right down to the very last letter. And now you got Omos fighting Brock Lesnar. We got him fighting Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, but you're going to tell me that, yeah, that's all Triple H. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Vince is back in charge, And it's that very material that shows me and should show you that Vince is back in charge. And if you're not going to acknowledge that, something may be wrong with you. Your X and Y chromosome ain't connected properly. Wake up. Unbelievable. The fact that I actually need to explain this shit to anyone, it's fucking pathetic. Really is. But we got one more report to go over, and this is the moment that you've all been waiting for. By the way, shout out to Earl Cole, who's currently in the chat. Ariel Helwani. Never did I ever think that I would be talking about Ariel Helwani on my fucking show. But here we are. Why am I talking about Ariel Helwani? DJ, why are you talking about Ariel Helwani? I'll tell you. So Ariel Helwani was on MMA Hour, and he ranted and raved about Tony Khan. By the way, how many weeks has it been? How many weeks has it been since the interview? It's got to have been at least 2 fucking months now. Has to be. Has to be at least 2 fucking months now. 2 months? A month and a half? How much longer is he going to hang on to this shit? It's honestly becoming pathetic. So, he said on MMA Hour that he checked TK's tweet. He had to check the tweet that Tony Khan sent out. It was October? That's even fucking... Wait. Hologram. It was October? That's even fucking worse. It's fucking... We're going into March, and he's still doing this shit? Oh, my God. What a fucking child. So, Ariel Helwani, or as I like to call him, Ariel Helwani, because he's a whiny bitch. He said he had to check Tony Khan's tweet from last Friday because he thought it was a troll. He said that Tony Khan is just mad for giving him an all-time bad interview, and Tony Khan came across like a guy who couldn't handle situations like what happened at the all-out post-media scrum. He said he was reached out by Tony Khan for the interview. So Tony Khan reached out to him, and Tony Khan never said what questions he couldn't and could not ask. So pretty much saying, yeah, he never told me I couldn't ask about the CM Punk and the Elite scuffle, and he never said I couldn't ask about this or I couldn't ask about that. He then said, and I quote, this was his quote, "This fucking guy doesn't know what journalism is. He has no idea. He's no different from Dana." Obviously talking about Dana White, because Dana White hates Ariel Helwani just as much as Tony Khan. He then went on to use the "if it wasn't for your dad's money" excuse, and he said he even thought about replying to his tweet with "Dana's not gonna sag you, mate." Before you have any questions to me, I just want to confirm with you guys that this is a grown man. This is a legitimate grown man saying all of this shit on a podcast. I don't know whether I'm watching or I'm listening and reading. I don't know whether I'm listening to a grown man who's supposed to be a professional, and I use that term very loosely with this fucking bitch. I don't know if I'm listening to a man who's supposed to be a professional combat sports journalist, or if I'm listening to a fucking juvenile delinquent rant and rave as to why the fucking teacher put him in detention. What am I reading here? What the fuck am I reading? First of all, let's go step by step. He said Tony Khan is just mad for giving him an all-time bad interview, and Tony Khan came across like a guy that couldn't handle a situation like what happened at the all-out post-media scrum. He then said that AEW reached out to him for the interview, and they never said what questions he could and could not ask. Let's pause it right there. First of all, I don't give a shit how long you've been doing this. I don't give a shit who you are. It is an unwritten rule. It is an unwritten rule that if you are a commentator or if you are a journalist or a guy that does interviews, it is an unwritten rule that you are to ask the person that you are interviewing whether or not it is okay to say, ask, or don't ask certain questions. I have used this reference before. Crowbar, shout out to him, Crowbar hired me for a commentary gig at one of his shows. He had this promotion called Rescue Mania before the pandemic hit. And I commentated for the last show back in October of 2019. Crowbar, he oh so graciously offered me the opportunity. Now, I was 20 years old at the time. 20 years old. I was not getting paid a dime, and I was doing a commentary gig for a show contested in front of 200 people. However, me being 20 years old, me not getting paid a dime for it, I came there with a fucking notepad and a pen. I came there with a fucking notepad and a pen. Might I remind you, 20 years old, not getting paid a dime. And I went there and I went up to the professional wrestlers and I said, hey, how you doing? My name is DJ Storms. I will be commentating on your match. I took some notes on your history and accomplishments. Is there anything that you do or you don't want me to say? How would you like me to hype you up on commentary? And I was told by the wrestlers what I could say, what I could not say, and I followed their request. So much so that I even was praised by this one independent wrestler, J. George Thunderheart. Shout out to him. He came up to me and he said, what you are doing, kid, is great. What you are doing is very, very professional, kid. And you know what? I took that and that stuck with me all these years later. Even when I'm doing the Eye of the Storm, I have my guests, because the Eye of the Storm is pre-recorded, I have my guests talk to me face to face, and I run down the list of questions, and I ask them, hey, are these questions okay? Can I ask this? Can I not ask this? And if they don't want me to say it, then I don't fucking say it. He says, oh, this fucking guy doesn't know what journalism is. He has no idea. He's no better than Dana. Tony Khan don't know what journalism is. Motherfucker, I don't give a shit how old you are. I don't give a shit how long you've been doing this. Whether or not you've been doing this for X amount of years, whether or not you're getting paid for it or not, you always double check with the person that you are talking to. You pre-write the questions and you talk to them about what you can and cannot say. Why? Because it's common decency, it is common courtesy, it's common respect, it is common professionalism. That seems to be one thing that's lost in 2023. No one knows how to be fucking professional anymore. If I can be more professional than this fucking moron, if I can be more professional than this stooge at 20 years old, and I wasn't even getting paid a dime, what does that tell you about Ariel Helwani? That tells me that Tony Khan ain't the one that don't know journalism. Your punk ass don't know journalism. Because let me tell you something. If you continue to operate at the rate that you're operating, and you do not double check with certain people, hey, can I ask this? Hey, can I not ask this? Can I do this? Can I not do this? Do you want to talk about this? Do you not want to talk about that? If he does not take on that tactic, and he does not take on that common courtesy, that common respect, and that common professionalism, he's going to get himself into deeper shit. He's lucky that Tony Khan is as nice of a guy as he is. Common fucking courtesy and professionalism is what I preach. Now, the LFU is not a professional show, but when it comes to interviews and when it comes to sit-downs, when it comes to being serious, I know how to get fucking serious, and I know how to do my job. Matter of fact, I'm doing it better than this fucking shithead. So then he goes on and says, yeah, Tony Khan is just mad that he gave me an all-time bad interview and he came across a guy that couldn't handle the situations like what happened at the all-out post-media scrum. First of all, Tony Khan, he does need to learn how to be a fucking boss. Trust me on that. He needs to know how to be a little bit more professional in certain aspects. But since then, he has done what he needs to do in order to correct himself and to get certain scenarios under control. Recently, everything has been flowing pretty smoothly over with AEW. So I'd like to believe that Tony Khan is taking the right precautions and he's doing the right things he needs to do in order to be looked at as a CEO. So he does need to learn how to be a CEO. That may be true. And I'd like to believe he's doing that. But at the end of the day, no one could have prepared for what was going to happen at the all-out post-media scrum. No one knew. You think Tony Khan had that on his mind? You think Tony Khan had it on his mind? Man, I think these guys are going to come to blows. Nobody did. Nobody could have prepared for that scenario. And let me tell you something. The way that you fucking operate, Mr. Helwani, the way that your ass operates, you sound like a guy that would have crumbled and shit his pants. No one, and I mean no one, could have prepared for that. So if you want to get on Tony Khan's ass for that, put yourself in his shoes. No one would have been prepared for that. No one would have ever even expected that or anticipated that. So you don't have any fucking right to say, oh yeah, he doesn't seem like the guy that could handle it. Why don't you go and do what he does? Why don't your bitch ass go and start a wrestling company? Take the Freddie Prinze Jr. route. I'm actually in support of Freddie Prinze Jr. I actually hope he succeeds. But why don't your bitch ass go and start a wrestling company, and then when a situation like that happens, then tell me how you handle it. And then he said, oh, Tony Khan is mad for giving me an all-time bad interview. Might I remind you that Tony Khan was silent for however many months. Tony Khan didn't utter one fucking word, and then your ass came out, and you were the one that started this shit. You were the one that came out on Twitter and said, oh man, this is one of the worst interviews of all time, and blah, blah, blah. You called him a fucking snowman, as if at this, what are you trying to take inspiration from these fucking morons on Twitter? You were the one that came out and started complaining. Oh yeah, he gave me a bad interview. Tony Khan didn't utter one fucking peep. He didn't utter one peep. But yet he's mad that he gave you an all-time bad interview. Seems like the only person that's mad is you. Seems to me like the only person that's mad is you. And you know what? I get it. You're a perfectionist, and I can be a perfectionist too. But at the end of the day, how long has it been? October? If you have a bad interview, fine, you have a bad interview. I have had plenty of scenarios where my streams haven't gone as smooth as I would like them to go. Just a couple weeks ago, my stream was freezing up left and right. It was freezing up every 15 fucking seconds. But am I still complaining about that shit? No! Get over it! Get the fuck over it! You had one bad interview. Great. Move on. Move the fuck on. As far as I'm concerned, after your fucking shitty ass tweet a couple months ago, Tony Khan had every right to call you out. Because you're a fucking fraud. You're a fucking WWE cocksucker. Right down to the very last letter. You don't care about professionalism. You don't care about these interviews. All you care about is getting all of this attention, is making sure you're in the good graces of everyone. And then when something doesn't go your way, you bitch and moan. You bitch and moan, and you blame everyone but yourself. Meanwhile, you are the one that wasn't professional here. Tony Khan don't know journalism. No, motherfucker, you don't know journalism. How much praise were you getting? How much praise was this fucking idiot getting over all the interviews that he was bringing out, one after the other? You know, Seth Rollins, and then fucking, you know, Sami Zayn and Tony Khan. And how much praise were you getting? You were getting so much praise, and you wiped that all away. And people are now seeing you for what you really are. You are a fucking juvenile. A fucking juvenile who doesn't understand what real journalism is all about. Who doesn't have any decency, respect, or professionalism. So much so that you're using the fucking, oh yeah, your dad's money excuse. Meanwhile, you were just on a company that was put together by a man who got all of his money from his father. Vince McMahon got his money from his father. Oh, but you want to talk about, oh yeah, Tony Khan, all he does is get his money from his dad. And Dana's not going to sag you. Are you a fucking 13-year-old delinquent? How old are you? Professionalism goes a long way, motherfucker. All this did was prove to me that Ariel Helwani is an unprofessional bitch. You have a bad interview with Tony Khan. Great. Get the fuck over it. I've had plenty of scenarios where I have had bad interviews or bad streams, but I'm not complaining about it all these fucking weeks later. Months later. Not to mention, you wouldn't be able to do half the shit that Tony Khan does. You were the one that started this shit with that unprofessional pussy-like tweet a couple of months ago. Dana's not going to sag you, and, oh, he's a snowman. Yeah, your dad's not. Are you fucking serious? Guy is an absolute piece of shit. Ariel Helwani erased all of his credibility that he had coming out of all the great interviews that he did. What a fucking joke. I needed to get all that out. And hopefully I was able to educate some people as to why Ariel Helwani is an absolute piece of horseshit. Hope you guys have had a great time so far. We are going to get into the Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and Rampage reviews in just a little bit. Shout out to Dee. Shout out to Earl Cole. Shout out to Hooligram. Shout out to everyone who was in the chat. You guys are great. And I hope you guys enjoyed me ripping Ariel Helwani a new asshole. And hopefully Ariel Helwani sees this. I hope he does see it. So that way he'll understand how much of a piece of shit he is. Fucking baby. Ariel Helwani is his new name. HEL-WHINNY. Whiny. Anyway, Monday Night Raw. We're going to move on to the weekly show reviews over here. Monday Night Raw. I don't know what happened, but Monday Night Raw felt flat. I really don't know what's going on. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Triple H, he's on one week and then he's off the next week. I understand it's going to take a while, but it feels as though there's not enough intensity going into WrestleMania. Outside of Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, outside of Dominic and Rey Mysterio, that's it. Maybe Rollins and Logan Paul, because I think that's going to be a fantastic fucking match. But at the end of the day, not a lot of intensity going into WrestleMania. I don't know why. It seems as though Vince is really trying to sabotage Triple H. A rather lackluster Monday Night Raw. Well, it wasn't horrible. I mean, I've seen worse, but very lackluster Monday Night Raw. So Sami Zayn, obviously, was one of the biggest things on the show. Sami Zayn kicked off Raw. Crowd was electric for him, chanting, "Ole, ole." Sami Zayn said, "I'm feeling a lot of feelings here. After these past couple days, the one feeling I feel is gratitude. The ovation that I've gotten, you have no idea what it means to me." Crowd was chanting, "You deserve it." Sami was just taking it all in. Another thing I'm feeling after coming so close, I feel a lot of guilt on that. I feel like I didn't finish the story, but I realize here that the story is not over. I finally have the opportunity to open up a chapter that is not about me. The final chapter is not about me because there is one person that I need to talk to. "Kevin Owens, I would love if you came out here," said Sami Zayn. So Kevin Owens did oblige. Sami Zayn said, I don't know what I want to say. I want to say thank you. I want to say I'm sorry. But I think we're past the point of words. I don't know if there will ever be coming back. But for you, it's been taking down the bloodline, and I will make sure that my mission is that Roman Reigns and the bloodline come crumbling down. You couldn't do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. There is only one way that we can get it done, and that's if we do it together. KO then said, I don't need your apology. I don't need your gratitude. What happened had nothing to do with you. I did what I did for my family. I did it for your family, so your family didn't have to watch you get the hell beat out of you like my family did. I've been fighting the bloodline on my own, and that is how I like it. I told you I was done with you, but if you need help taking down the bloodline, just ask your buddy Jay. Very, very interesting. And I like that. What this does is this sets up Jey Uso for when he inevitably turns heel. Kevin Owens will be there. Kevin Owens, he feels as though Sami Zayn hasn't learned his lesson yet if he's still trusting Jey Uso, who is legitimately Roman's right-hand man. It doesn't really seem like it right now, but when Jey inevitably turns, that right there is going to be the catalyst for Kevin Owens coming in, swooping in, and saving Sami Zayn. And it will be a great moment. So Baron Corbin then came out and attacked Sami Zayn while he was on the ramp. We had a big brawl. Corbin then got in the ring and took the mic. He said, Sami, how does it felt? How it felt when you interrupted me last week. That's how it felt. I'm the last person to beat Roman Reigns, and I said, and I was going to embarrass you, and this was pathetic. He was going to embarrass you, and he did. This is now pathetic. And you begged for Kevin Owens, but here's the spoiler, Sami. Your story is over. You embarrassed yourself, your hometown, and all of Canada because you are a complete and utter failure. So Sami charged the ring, and we get a match. And it was a pretty decent match right here. Nothing over the top, but Sami and Baron Corbin worked fairly well together. Corbin tried to wear down Sami. Sami mounted a comeback. Corbin delivered a choke slam backbreaker. Coming back from commercial, Sami with a flying elbow off the middle rope. Corbin was sent to the floor. Tope con hero over the top onto Corbin by Sami. Corbin then with a lariat turning Sami inside out. Corbin with the deep six, and Sami kicked out. Sami with a haluva kick out of nowhere, and he wins it. I'm glad that they gave Sami a win in Canada, and this is all part of the story for where Sami Zayn inevitably aligns back with Kevin Owens, and they take the titles from the Usos. We had an exclusive sit-down interview with Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. Byron Saxton was in the chair asking the questions, and I have to say, I don't mind Byron Saxton as a backstage interviewer. So Byron asked, what happened at the Chamber? Rhea said that me and Beth have unfinished business, but we're not here to talk about the past. Dominic told Byron to stop asking stupid questions. Byron then talked about Charlotte Flair, believing that she is the best woman in WWE, and Rhea Ripley doesn't make the same mistake twice. I will stand over her queendom as the new SmackDown Women's Champion. They walked out, and they will be heading to SmackDown, where we will see the face-to-face between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. Dolph Ziggler and Mustafa Ali. This went 2 minutes. Ali was acting all kind and smiley, and he was mocking Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler, he went for the famouser. Ali stopped it with his palms, and he delivered a crucifix to Ziggler, and Ali won with the crucifix. Ali was then celebrating, I won, I won, I won. And that was pretty much it. There was no substance to this whatsoever. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with either of these guys. I would much rather have these guys go out there and just wrestle rather than a fucking 2-minute nothing match. I'll tell you what else was a nothing part of the show. This promo with Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman. I don't know why they're waiting so long, but Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, they need to come face to face sooner rather than later. Cody came out to address the WWE Universe, and before he could even get a word out, Paul Heyman came up on the screen wearing a neck brace. Cody wanted Heyman to come down to the ring, and then Heyman, he declined, and he said that the weekend ended up being a tragedy for the wise man, but the true tragedy will fall upon you. Heyman said, man to man, you can't beat Roman Reigns. Crowd booed. Heyman then said, let's say Cody Rhodes, hypothetically speaking, beats Roman Reigns. What would your life be like? Roman has the wise man. He has Paul Heyman. You won't have Paul Heyman. 200 days a year on the road, 40 to 50 days a year doing charity appearances, 30 days overseas, 20 promoting pay-per-views, then at home. You have got Zoom calls. When your father was on the road, he was never at home, and even when he was at home, he was never at home. Is that the life that your wife and your child would like? But don't worry, I'll never say that Roman Reigns would keep your wife warm at night. Roman is a happily married man, but I'm not. Now, at WrestleMania, your dreams will become your own personal nightmare. So Cody obviously was getting flustered. He didn't really say much of anything. He just said, Roman Reigns, he's great. You are the best champion in all of sports, but I have to finish the story. I beat you at WrestleMania. It was fine, but I mean, there was really no intensity. No intensity whatsoever. I don't know what they're waiting for. Apparently, Dave Meltzer, he said that the reason why we did not get an actual segment is because they did not want the crowd to chant for Sami Zayn, which is why they didn't even allow Cody Rhodes to speak. I'm sorry, but you need to get the ball fucking rolling. We got legitimately a month, 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks to WrestleMania. You got to get the fucking ball rolling. You cannot, and I'm telling you, you cannot leave this shit open. You can't. You can't. Shit like this needs to be put into motion now. You need to give us a story that is going to be rich. You need to give us a story that is going to be captivating, even though it won't be as good as whatever Sami Zayn is doing. You need to get the fucking wheels in motion, because if you don't, then that main event could very well end up falling flat. You need to get the wheels in motion. Asuka versus Nikki Cross. We had a pretty decent match right here. Again, nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy whatsoever. It was just two women, Asuka and Nikki Cross, going in there and wrestling. So Bianca Belair came out to watch the match. Asuka and Nikki were on the apron, and Asuka accidentally kicked the ring post. Nikki Cross then delivered a reverse DDT on the apron to Asuka. Coming back from commercial, Asuka with a flurry of strikes, a couple of German suplexes. Nikki with a barrage of punches. Cross and Asuka were up on the middle rope. Asuka with a flatliner DDT from the middle rope for a 2, which looked pretty decent. Asuka with some stiff kicks. Nikki Cross with a Samoan driver. Asuka kicked out. Asuka then with the armbar. Referee called for the bell. Asuka wins. Bianca then stood in the ring, stood face to face with Asuka. She held up the title, and that was pretty much it. There is one way in and one way out. Asuka walks into WrestleMania the challenger. She walks out of WrestleMania as the champion. Bianca Belair, she needs to take a break from the championship title scene. She really does. She needs a break from being a champion. She needs to be in the undercard for a little bit. She needs to help other women get over. Bianca right now is stale. And that's not because of her. The reason why Bianca is stale is because of the simple fact that loss to Becky Lynch at SummerSlam 2021, that is still looming. That's still fucking looming. That's not going to go away. That shit right there and how bad it was, she is still feeling the slack from that. She really is. I'm sorry, but at the end of the fucking day, that loss has done more damage than anyone could have ever imagined. Not even bullshitting. I think we honestly need to reset Bianca. We need to give her some more intensity. We need to give her more of an edge, possibly turn her heel, move her over to SmackDown, and get some more interesting shit rolling with her. Because right now, Bianca just isn't hitting. Asuka needs to win. And you got a decent division for Asuka to go up against. You got Dakota Kai. You got Bayley. You got Io Sky. You got Candice LeRae. You got Piper Niven. You got a decent roster for Asuka to go up against. So I'd much rather her go up against all the members of the Raw Women's Division rather than Bianca. MVP and Omos cut a promo. Don't know why. MVP then issued a challenge for Lesnar to fight Omos at WrestleMania. Pass me the bleach. Pass me the pistol. Pass me the noose. Put me out of my fucking misery. Oh my Lord. Fucking Omos. I've already ranted on him. I don't need to go back and forth on it again. Seth Rollins, he took on The Miz. And this wasn't bad. This wasn't bad. It was pretty basic, but it wasn't bad. Miz actually hasn't been all too terrible as of lately. I will say that. The Miz has just been, he's been doing his own thing. He's been doing his own thing. He's been competing in a few matches here or there. Most of his matches haven't been bad. We had a decent match with him and Johnny. We had a decent match with him and Loomis. We had a decent match with him and Rollins. So he hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been terrible. Seth Rollins, he delivered a big suicide dive, sending Miz over the announce table. Miz came back with a snap DDT for a 2. Coming back from commercial, Miz wore down Seth Rollins. Rollins with a lariat. Seth Rollins mounted a comeback with a super kick. Miz came in with a code breaker out of the corner for a 2. Miz then with a Busaiku knee for a 2 count. Rollins then with a rolling elbow. Elbow after elbow to the head. Rollins with the stomp. A second stomp on the money, and then a third stomp. Obviously, this was all to build up Seth Rollins and make him look like a stone cold-blooded killer, because Seth Rollins will inevitably be stomping Logan Paul's head into the mat at WrestleMania. And I do believe that when Seth Rollins delivers that fatal stomp to Logan Paul, I do believe that that is going to be a moment that really pops the crowd at WrestleMania. Bayley, she hosted Ding Dong Hello with Damage Control. They were interrupted by Becky Lynch and Lita. And Becky Lynch said, sometimes I get a little gollumy when titles are concerned. So that was a shoot. That was a shoot right there. Lita, let me tell you, Lita, holy shit. You know what was the best part of this segment? Lita looks fucking fine as hell. How old is she? 40, 44, 45? Oh my God. Holy shit. Lita, hit me up. Hit me up, man. I like older women. I like older women, Lita. And Lita, for her age, Lita still, I think she looks better now than she did then. I think Lita honestly looks better now than she did then. Lita looks fucking on point all the time. My Lord. Fine as fuck is Lita. So Lita and Becky, they contemplated if Damage Control was scared. Bayley then accepted on their behalf. So we ended up getting a tag team match for the tag team titles made for next week on Raw. And at the end of the day, we should not be seeing Bayley and Damage Control lose the tag team titles. It should be none other than Damage Control retaining. And then inevitably, we will see Trish Stratus make her way back to WWE, and we will get a 6-woman tag. That's how we need to do it. That's how we need to do it. Chad Gable and Bronson Reed. I don't know what they're doing here, but this is the second 3-minute match. 3-minute matches. 2 3-minute matches on Monday Night Raw. We get Ali and Dolph Ziggler, and then we get Chad Gable and Bronson Reed. On what planet should they be going 3 minutes? So, Maxine Dupree was on the outside talking to Otis. So it looks like Otis could be breaking away from Chad Gable and joining the Maximum Male Models. This caused Chad Gable to get distracted momentarily. Gable with a beautiful bridging German suplex for a 2 count. Reed then with a snap power slam and then the tsunami splash, and Bronson Reed wins yet another match. But the main thing about this match is these 3-minute fucking matches. Listen, I don't give a shit what story is going on the show. 3-minute matches between full-time talent need to die. Why is it that we get a 3-minute match with Ziggler and Ali, a 3-minute match with Bronson Reed and Chad Gable? Does that really help? Do you honestly feel more invested in these competitors after they go, 3 minutes? That doesn't make anyone look good. It doesn't make the show better. How does it feel if we get a 3-hour show with 8 matches on it, and then 6 out of those 8 matches are 3-minute squash matches? You can have one every now and then, but when it comes to full-time talent, unless we get a full-time superstar versus a jobber, there should be no match on any wrestling show that goes under 10 minutes. That goes for any show. WWE, AEW, New Japan, Impact. 3-minute matches between full-time talent need to die. It does no one any favors. So from there we had Elias, and he was interrupted by Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley then took out Elias. All of a sudden, we had Bobby Lashley cutting a promo, and he goes, "Everyone has a plan until they get put in the Hurt Lock." Brock Lesnar panicked. No one in that locker room breaks the Hurt Lock, and nobody will disrespect me. And if you do, I'm going to put you down. Pretty simple and to the point by Bobby Lashley, but I can't really say that I care about a match between Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt, especially not after what we got on SmackDown. Probably the second best thing on the night, Austin Theory versus Edge. Austin Theory right now is quickly becoming probably one of my top 3 favorite things about WWE TV. It is Sami Zayn in the Bloodline, Gunther as Intercontinental Champion, and then Austin Theory as the United States Champion. Austin Theory has been booked great as the United States Champion. So, Edge and Austin Theory, they had a very good match here. Edge was in control. We had a back body drop to Theory on the floor, flying lariat off the apron. Theory then tried to wear down Edge. Theory with a roll-through drop kick. Coming back from commercial, Theory was then sent to the floor. We had a big cross body to the back by Edge. Edge then mounted a comeback. We had a flapjack and an Edge-o-matic for a 2 count. Theory was then caught with a sit-out powerbomb for a 2. Very nicely done. Theory then dodged the spear. He then did a monkey flip on Edge, and Edge rolled through on the monkey flip and landed on his feet, which I thought looked great. I thought that looked awesome. So Edge then locked in the crossface. Theory got to the ropes. Edge with an execution for a 2. Edge then went for the spear, but then Finn Balor came in, a cheap shot, a cheap enziguri behind the referee's back. Cheap shot behind the referee's back. Balor was then out of vision. Theory with A-Town down, and Theory pins Edge. Clean or not, Theory pinned Edge to retain the U.S. title, and my God, is Austin Theory looking fucking great. How good is Austin Theory looking? Think about the reign that Austin Theory currently has under his belt right now. Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, the Elimination Chamber, Edge, and now he's going to beat John Cena at WrestleMania. Austin Theory right now, he is doing some phenomenal fucking work, and I could not be happier. Triple H finally getting Austin Theory back on the right track. This was a very good match, and Austin Theory, he's building a solid reputation for himself with the United States Championship. Exactly what we needed. Finn Balor then came in and delivered 3 coup de grace to Edge, and this is all leading towards an inevitable Hell in a Cell match between Edge and Finn Balor at WrestleMania. Realistically, outside of a couple decent matches and then Sami and the Bloodline, a very lackluster Monday Night Raw. No intensity really shown, and I could really use some extra care for WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania is looking great, but they have not been hyping up WrestleMania as it should be. Very, very weak. Same thing with SmackDown. SmackDown was weak. Outside of Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, SmackDown was weak. We did get a couple of seeds planted for a potential Intercontinental Championship match. We got some seeds planted for LA Knight making an appearance at WrestleMania, but that was pretty much it. Very, very lackluster SmackDown. Braun Strowman, Ricochet, and Madcap Moss. This was a 6-man tag team match against Imperium. This was a pretty basic 6-man tag, really nothing too crazy. So Ricochet got the tag to Braun Strowman. He ran wild. Gunther and Strowman had a chop off. Gunther with a drop kick, and he tagged in Moss. Moss with a shoulder tackle. Gunther then with a lariat. Powerbomb, and Gunther wins it. Drew McIntyre actually came out to watch the match. So that right there, that planted the seeds for the inevitable Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus versus Gunther match at WrestleMania. Viking Raiders came out to attack. Sheamus then came out to aid. Strowman then came in to help, and Ricochet with a Fosby flop onto the Raiders, and that was pretty much that. So I'm not sure where they're going to go with the Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Gunther scenario. I'd like to believe that probably will get a number 1 contenders match, and then maybe both men will be down, and maybe Gunther has to face them both in triple threat. I don't know. But either way, I do believe that Sheamus is the right man to take the title off of Gunther. We had L.A. Knight. He was talking about making money and winning titles. He says, I will go to WrestleMania. You can't have an L.A. Knight or L.A. WrestleMania without L.A. Knight. He says, I'm going to give WrestleMania an L.A. Knight moment. Yeah. And the crowd's doing it with him. So the fact that L.A. Knight's getting over, I love that. L.A. Knight, he is doing some great work no matter where he's put. L.A. Knight makes you react. And that's what I love about L.A. Knight. And the fact that the crowd are doing his catchphrase with him, man, beautiful thing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing to see. So the New Day then came out. Kofi, he asked who L.A. Knight is to be demanding anything. L.A. Knight called them the Nerd Day, which they are, by the way. Woods then said, being nerds has made them a hell of a lot of money. WrestleMania moments, they are earned. They are not given out. Knight then mocked Kofi Mania. Kofi then said, I waited for 11 years, but I won't wait to shut your ass up right now. So we get LA Knight versus Kofi Kingston, and this was a pretty decent match. Really nothing over the top, but it was pretty decent. But I mean, holy shit. Why is LA Knight losing? Why is LA Knight losing to Kofi Kingston? You know what this honestly felt like a Vince McMahon move. This honestly felt like a Vince McMahon creative decision here. Why is LA Knight facing Kofi Kingston and Kofi Kingston isn't beating LA Knight? It's a nothing match on SmackDown. LA Knight should not be losing to Kofi Kingston of all fucking people. It's not because Kofi's not great, but I mean, Kofi has already done everything there is to do in the fucking business. Why is he beating LA Knight? LA Knight should be winning matches, especially after that terrible fucking lights out pitch black match with Bray Wyatt at the Royal Rumble. We need LA Knight winning matches on weekly TV. You got the wrestling part right, LA Knight showing us why he's a great wrestler. Now we need him winning matches. Fucking stupid. Why is LA Knight losing to Kofi? Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, they had a face-to-face. And Rhea didn't show up. Instead, Dominic came out. So Dominic Mysterio came out. And Dominic said, "Hey, Queenie, what's going on?" So he's kind of, playing nice. He goes, "You're not about to run down mommy." Charlotte then called Dom Rhea's boy toy. Dom then said, "I think we share a lot in common. We're both second-generation superstars. And, you're a very beautiful woman, too. Matter of fact, they say that the female is the softer sex. Very, very gentle. But mommy, she's strong. She nearly breaks my back when she hugs me." Charlotte then said she has a real Latino man who calls her mommy with a much thicker accent. Dom then compared Charlotte's father to his father. Ray was messed up. And when mommy beats you, your dad will be proven right that you're just not good enough. Charlotte said, "Unlike you, I love my dad, and he can still go. And if he was here, he'd kick your butt. But since he's not here," so Charlotte was getting ready to beat the shit out of Dominic before Rhea came out. And this was very weak. It's weak. Rhea didn't even utter a fucking word against Charlotte. Dom just held her back. Really fucking stupid and really weak. And yet people think that Charlotte Flair should main event Mania with Rhea Ripley. All this shit did was prove to me that Rhea should have chosen Bianca. You know why? Because even though Bianca is a little stale, she is much more over than Charlotte Flair is. Plus, Rhea and Bianca are probably the top two women in their respective divisions. Charlotte, no one wants to fucking see Charlotte. Everything that fucking Charlotte touches turns to shit. So if anything, all this did was prove to me that Rhea should have chosen Bianca. You know what I would do? If I was booking this shit, I would have Rhea Ripley absolutely fucking squash Charlotte Flair. 60 seconds. I would have Ripley absolutely fucking squash Charlotte Flair in 60 seconds. That's what I would do. Natalya and Shayna Baszler, another 3-minute match. Baszler wins with a Karafuda clutch, and Tegan Nox and Natalya will face off against Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler next week. Who cares? Firefly Funhouse. Firefly Funhouse was very, very dark. It was a TV. It was going nuts. Bray Wyatt was rewatching his promo from last week, his promo with Bobby Lashley from last week. Wyatt had a new Weatherman segment. He opened the door. There was a game show spoof. They kept on asking, "Can you keep a secret?" Well, can you? Wyatt then flashed up on the screen, and that was pretty much it. It was all over the place. It was crazy. It was kooky. It was spooky. All I got from watching this is Bray Wyatt has fallen flat. Bray Wyatt has fallen flat. Bray Wyatt has completely fallen flat on his face. And it's nobody's fault. It's no one's fault but Vince McMahon and WWE Creative. It's not Wyatt's fault at all. Once again, they do not do Bray Wyatt justice. You know what we need? We need the Eater of Worlds. We need Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds, coming back, and we need Bray Wyatt forming the Wyatt Six immediately. Give me Bo Dallas, give me Dutch, give me fucking Vincent, give me Eric Redbeard, bring him back, reform the Wyatt Six. Form the Wyatt Six and put Bray Wyatt in the ring and let him wrestle. I want to see Bray Wyatt. I don't even give a shit about story at this point. Because whatever story they're trying to tell with Bray Wyatt, it is not intriguing. I would much rather see Bray Wyatt in a ring putting on great matches with Ridge Holland or Butch or Santos Escobar or Rey Mysterio or Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods. I would much rather have Bray Wyatt in the ring wrestling rather than having him do this shit. Because this shit, it's not entertaining. It's not. Put him in the ring and just let him wrestle. Sometimes wrestling is all you need in order to get over. I can't even remember the last time we saw a great Bray Wyatt match. The last time we honestly saw a great Bray Wyatt match was Royal Rumble 2020 against Bryan Danielson for the Universal title in that strap match. That was the last time that we saw an actual great wrestling match with Bray Wyatt and whoever he's in the ring with. I want a great wrestling match. I am sick of this shit. I'm done. Fucking stupid. Karrion Kross and Rey Mysterio. Fun little match right here. Again, nothing over the top, nothing special. Rey Mysterio used his quickness early on. We had a 619 to the back of the head, and Rey then delivered a very nice-looking suicide dive to Karrion Kross. Coming back from commercial, we had Karrion Kross delivering a gutbuster to Rey Mysterio. Kross went up to the middle rope, and Karrion Kross had Rey on his shoulders. Karrion Kross was then caught with a Hurricane Rana on the money. Kross with caught with a Hurricane Rana on the money. Rey Mysterio tried to mount the comeback. Scarlett then fell in the ring and caused a distraction. Dominic then, out of nowhere, showed his face and stopped the 619 from happening. He egged on Rey Mysterio to hit him. Kross then took advantage. He delivered a big forearm, locked in the Kross jacket, and Karrion Kross wins. Fine match, but Kross is another one. They're not doing Karrion Kross justice at all. They're not. I want to see more of Kross. Dom then went into the ring and continued to egg Rey Mysterio on to hit him. Rey was getting pissed. Rey was getting in Dom's face. Rey was getting ready to punch him. Dom said, "Be a man and do it." The crowd was chanting, "Do it." Rey inevitably walked away. And that was the end of that segment. I actually like this. I like that they're really starting to vamp it up, and we're actually starting to build towards an actual Rey Mysterio versus Dominic match at WrestleMania. I think it's going to be a great match. So, from there, we had the main segment. Jimmy Uso came out to address Jay and his issues with the bloodline. Jimmy said, "From brother to brother, I know you're torn. I know you're hurt. And when you hurt, I hurt. I'm always here for you, Oos, just like I needed you to be here for me. I know that there's issues going on." Sami Zayn then came through the crowd. He came out of nowhere. Sami Zayn took the mic and he said, "I'm not here to fight. I need to talk to you." Now, when I hear you use the term brother, that's what you were to me, and that hurts. You were my dog, man. You made me the honorary Oos. Without you, there is no feeling Oosy. But the thing that hurt me the most is the fact that you didn't think twice about what you did at the Royal Rumble. Jimmy then called Sami selfish and said Sami pulled the trigger. What was I supposed to do? Sami said, family doesn't make you test your loyalty week after week. They don't manipulate you like Roman did to me, like Roman did to your twin for years. Jay then came in through the crowd. Sami was trying to convince Jimmy that there is a way out. All of a sudden, after Sami said, "You don't have to go down with the ship," Jimmy attacked Sami. Jay walked down to the ring. Jimmy was distracted momentarily. Sami with a haluva kick, and Jay watched on as Solo came out and Sami ran off. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Really, really great stuff right here. And when Jey Uso inevitably aligns back with the Bloodline, it is going to be a heartbreaking moment. And when Sami and KO win the tag team titles, it is going to be a monumental moment. It will be a monumental, just feel-good moment for everyone. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. That was SmackDown. Really nothing outside of the Bloodline stuff. And again, it is really, really making me wonder if Vince McMahon is purposely trying to sabotage WrestleMania season for Triple H. I don't know. But that's definitely a topic of discussion that I think a lot of people should be addressing. AEW Rampage. AEW Rampage took place right after SmackDown. I think it's about time that people really need to get rid of this bullshit ratings excuse. They really need to cut it out, and they need to watch the wrestling shows not for what's going to come about with the ratings or what's going to come about with how many people are viewing minute per minute or any of this shit or the fact that it's taped. I think it's about time that people start watching the show not for the analytical shit, but for the actual content that's on the show. Because AEW Rampage, listen, I know it's taped. Taped is not as good as live. Obviously, we need to make it live. And I know it's a 1-hour show and they can't really do too much with it. I get it. But Rampage is not a bad show. People don't seem to realize this. Rampage is not bad. It's not. Rampage is a fairly decent show. Is it a must-watch show? No. Is it a blowaway show? Fuck no. I'm not going to act like it is. But we do get some great wrestling on most weeks. And this was a very solid episode of Rampage. We got some decent wrestling. We got some matches made for next week. We got some matches made for the pay-per-view. Rampage is not a bad show. I think everyone needs to put the notion out of their head, oh yeah, Rampage sucks because it's taped, or because it's only 1 hour, or because no one watches it. People really need to put that notion to bed. They do. People need to put that notion to bed. I'm really sick and tired of hearing the same bullshit. No matter who you are, you need to acknowledge the fact that there has been some good material on Rampage this year specifically. I think it's about time that people stop. They stop with the, oh, Rampage is shit. No one watches it. This and that and this and that. Rampage is a decent show. Rampage is a decent show. And if you're not going to acknowledge that, then I don't think you should be doing this. I really don't. It's not the best. It's not blow away. It's not must see. But it is not terrible. This show was not terrible. Matter of fact, we got an excellent tag team match with Aussie Open and the Young Bucks. How good is Aussie Open? I did not think that they were this good, but Aussie Open, they are absolute fucking studs in that ring. So Aussie Open was in control early on. Nick Jackson with a double cross body on Aussie Open. The Bucks were then dropped on the apron with some back suplexes and then sandwiched in between each other. Coming back from commercial, Mark Davis with a nasty fucking chop to Nick Jackson. Nick with a springboard Frankensteiner. Tag to Matt. He then lit up Fletcher. Very nice lariat and a nice sliced bread on Fletcher. Diving crossbody on Davis. Diving elbow on Fletcher for a 2. Very nice swanton bomb with Fletcher on the ropes. Davis saved the match. We had a PK to Fletcher. Facebuster on Mark Davis. Fletcher then with a brainbuster on the floor to Nick. Lariat to Matt by Davis. Aussie Open then with an assisted blackout, which looked very nice. Nick saved it. He kicked out. Nick then with a cutter on Fletcher. Tag to Matt. Davis was taken out. Matt was taken out. Roundhouse kick. BTE trigger missed. Super kicks by the Bucks. Double lariats by Aussie Open. The Bucks rebounded. Escalera by Nick. Lights went out. The lights went back on. The House of Black obviously playing mind games. Kyle Fletcher with a tombstone. And then a Coriolis I believe that Aussie Open calls it. A modified pump handle double driver. Coriolis, or the Coriolis. Coriolis, very nicely done. And Nick Jackson saved it. Super kicks to Davis. Davis was then sent out. They hung Kyle Fletcher in a tombstone position on Mark Davis. Super kicked the knees, and Davis tombstoned his own partner. BTE trigger, and the Bucks win it. Excellent tag team match. The lights went out. Back on. The House of Black surrounded the ring. The lights go off. Back on, and they are gone. Excellent tag team match, first of all. Excellent tag team match to kick off Rampage. But here's what I'm going to say. Unless the House of Black is going to win the Trios Championships, this matchup being booked is a waste of time. Why is this match being booked if the Elite are potentially going to come out victorious? Meanwhile, the House of Black is the only trio that should be beating the Elite for the Trios Championships. All I'm saying is we better see the House of Black win. If not, the House of Black are going to be in the same exact position that they were in before. I can't say that this is the best scenario that they can go with. I really can't. This should have waited at least till Double or Nothing. We then got some women's action. And we got pretty decent stuff here between Toni Storm and Willow Nightingale. By the way, I need to say this. Willow Nightingale may be the best smiling, happy-go-lucky babyface in women's wrestling right now. When that bell rings, Willow is all fucking business. She's intense, she's fierce, she knows how to wrestle, she's likable, and no smiling when that bell rings. It is all business. She is on the fucking money with her moves. That's what I want to see. So the crowd was clearly behind Willow. Willow was then sent into the barricade. Coming back from commercial, Willow missed a cannonball. Toni Storm with a very nice hip attack and a tornado DDT for a 2. Willow then with a cannonball and a Death Valley driver for a 2. Saraya got up on the apron. Willow tried to take her out. Willow then, she was chop blocked by Storm. Storm hit Storm 0, and Toni Storm got the win. It looks like Toni Storm could very well be another challenger for Jamie Hayter, which I would not mind. I would love to see Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm Part 3 for the Women's Championship. Ruby Soho then came out and stopped the assault on Willow. Hayter and Baker then came out to attack, and they ran them off. So obviously this is all building towards the inevitable triple threat match, which I do believe that Ruby Soho is going to take the pin, and that is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And Ruby Soho will inevitably align with the freelancers, as they're calling themselves, Saraya and Toni Storm. Lance Archer. He made his return to AEW. He took on Bryce Saturn, and my God, did I miss Lance Archer. I don't know what it is, but there is something about Lance Archer just absolutely beating the ever-living shit out of people. That is the most entertaining thing that I could watch. It is entertaining as all hell. I love it when Lance Archer comes out, and he did this during the pandemic too. What I want to see Lance Archer doing what he did in the pandemic. I want to see Lance Archer coming out with just these random schmucks and start beating the shit out of people. For no fucking reason. For no fucking reason. I would love to see Lance Archer every single time during his entrance. He just brings out these fucking schmucks and drags them along the ramp, throws them in the ring, beats them down while his theme song is still playing, and then does his everybody dies thing. It's fucking hilarious. Lance Archer is probably one of the most unintentionally hilarious individuals out there. I fucking love it when Lance Archer goes on a fucking rampage. On Rampage. So, Archer wins this easily. Here's what I want to do. If I am booking this, I am giving Lance Archer the All-Atlantic Championship. I'm having him beat Orange Cassidy And I am having Lance Archer go on an absolute fucking tear with that championship. That's what I'm doing. I am having Lance Archer just absolutely tear it up. I am having Lance Archer just go hog wild and beat the shit out of everyone as the All-Atlantic champion. That's what we need. We need Lance Archer just absolutely running roughshod on everyone. Have him beat Cassidy, give him the All-Atlantic title, and have him just go hog wild. Have him just run through everyone. That's what we need. That's what I want to see. Main event of Rampage. It was Action Andretti versus Sammy Guevara. For 11 minutes, because this only went 11 minutes. For 11 minutes, this was one hell of a fucking main event for 11 minutes. Andretti is great. He is not that good of a promo, but Andretti can actually fucking wrestle his ass off. So Andretti, with a crossbody off the barricade, he took advantage. Andretti with a beautiful deadlift Falcon Arrow. That got a 2. Andretti then suplexed Guevara on the floor and delivered a beautiful 450 splash off the apron to Guevara to the floor. Coming back from commercial, Andretti went for the split-legged moonsault, but he missed. Guevara then with a modified KOD, Andretti kicked out. We had a pop-up drop kick by Andretti, springboard enziguri for a 2. They traded strikes back and forth. We had a high knee by Sammy, super kick, high knee again, great flurry by Sammy. Sammy went off the ropes, and Andretti with a beautiful Spanish fly for a 2 count. We had a super kick by Guevara, springboard swanton bomb by Andretti. Garcia was taken out momentarily. After the springboard swanton bomb, Sammy kicked out. We had a shotgun drop kick into the corner. Andretti went up to the top, but Garcia clotheslined him off the top behind the referee's back, and then Garcia delivered the go to hell, or the go to hospital, the GTH, and Sammy Guevara wins a very good match for the 11 minutes that it went. And this is all leading to next week's Face of the Revolution ladder match, which I do believe is going to be a banger. And I don't know. I think I may have to go with Konosuke Takeshita winning it. Maybe Sammy wins it, because Wardlow should absolutely win the title from Joe. And if Wardlow wins the title from Joe, then that means that we will inevitably be seeing Wardlow go on a tear with that championship. I hope. Wardlow should not be losing that championship for a while. So if I'm booking this, I'm having Wardlow hold that championship all the way to the fall. Give me Wardlow versus Sammy. That's what I'm looking for. But we got some very good wrestling on Rampage, and I do believe that people should start opening their horizon and start realizing that Rampage is actually a very good show when they take out the ratings bullshit and the fact that it's taped. But you guys were great, as per usual. We wrapped up a little bit quickly today, but that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. Thank you all for joining. Like, comment, subscribe. Next week, we got a busy week, including the rundown for Revolution. The rewind for Revolution is on Sunday. Plenty more good material coming your way. Until next time, I am DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. But before we get out of here, people, there is a very important question that all must answer, and that question is, who runs the IWC? Who runs it? Tell ya who runs it. Who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And I'll catch y'all next week as we get set for Revolution.